look, this is just going to be a short little video. I've had to clean the filter housing, so I've bead blasted that in my bead blaster, and this is where it bolts onto the engine. I've cleaned all that surface up, and the gasket goes here like that. So on some of the smaller tractors, in this filter head, there is a relief valve, like on a TE20, and yeah, probably a petrol 35 and things like that. There's a relief valve. Now the only thing in here is a filter bypass valve, and that's this bloke here. So it's just a little spring-loaded ball. So all you need to do here, if you have it off, is hold that open, run a bit of brake clean, a bit of your favourite cleaning fluid, blow it through to make sure it's free. So what does that do? Okay, well, let's have a talk about it. This is the filter. This is on our tractor, it's a Spares S65278. That's the filter for my tractor. And here it is here. And we'll just put this little seal in. Now there's a rubber seal there. Now with the aftermarket filters, I wish they had some of these other rubbers in them, but they don't. It's just that's just how we are, I suppose, what we have to work with. But on the outside edge here, I've sat it in here when I was having a fiddle, getting ready to do the video, we have the outer seal. So back to the filter bypass, what does it do? So with your filter sitting here, so your filter's there, it has the canister sitting over the top, and so the oil comes in this bottom hole here, see in the big hole, then it comes out into this cavity here. So you can see that jiggling through there. So it comes out here. And from that point on, through this little gap there, not a lot of gap, doesn't seem to need a lot of gap, but through that gap there, if this filter is blocked and it can't, the oil from the outside of the filter can't push through the filter, what it does, it actually opens this filter bypass valve, and their theory behind that is that dirty oil is better than no oil. So a bit of oil that's going through that hasn't been filtered will be better for your engine than no oil at all. So the other thing, we don't have this problem in Australia, but the other thing is really cold oil, you know, if things are getting frozen or something like that, there's not much, well, there's not much gap there, is there? But look, that's plenty for the oil pump. It surges all around there and away it goes. So if it gets really cold and the oil's too thick to push through the filter, it will also open the filter bypass and let oil through. So we know that the oil comes in here, in through the hole there, goes around the outside here. If that filter bypass remains closed, because everything's how it should be, well, the oil comes around the outside of the filter, forces through the filter, through the paper element here, and then it comes out this hole here. So you can just see it, but it comes out that hole there. So what can we do to this? Bugger all. The filter, to keep tension on this filter and keep the filter hard against the filter housing there, down this other end there's another little filter, a little washer that pushes on the end of the filter, and that holds it up, and then there's a spring, and the spring, that spring there, sits against, see this is dinted in down the bottom there. You'll be able to see it if I put it in bloody focus. Yeah, this little hump there, that keeps this spring central, and this fella here, that keeps that central. So this little washer down here, you need it now and then, never included in the kits, I wish it was. So if we put that down there, we slide the spring down that way so it can sit in the housing here. This way, Lance, stop talking. Okay, then Then we put the washer down with the rubber towards the filter. It's a bit hard for you to see, isn't it? I've got light everywhere except where I need it. Now, this packing for the filter, it goes down in there, and it doesn't quite fill up the whole groove, as you can see. It doesn't quite. I wish it did, but yeah, they just don't. But actually, I'll pop this apart and just show you if I can. The filter doesn't sit right down, right out to the edge, like it's got quite a bit of movement. So it does sit inside and seal on that filter. But yeah, I would like to see that groove filled up. It'd be nice if the filter companies did that, but none of them ever seem to. So we'll go back to the filter housing here. We'll put the bottom one in. We'll put the spring in with the fat end down. We'll put this in with the rubber side to the filter. We'll put the filter on. Doesn't matter which way the filter goes, it just does not. There's not a lot of room anywhere, but anyway, that's just how they are. And then that sits down there, and we tighten this up. I've cleaned everything here in the glass bead blaster, that's why it's so clean, so pretty. I've got the right size spanner, 5/8, so I'll just nip that up a little bit. And as that comes up, I just try and keep it nice and central, so it's not cacked one way or anything like that. I don't know, probably doesn't matter, it'll find its own way home. And we'll put a bit of tension on that. And now for the gasket, these two bolts here hold it on, and they just poke right through the housing there. And I've cleaned all them up, so when we paint it, it's, oh, she's going to look flash. Flash one. And then, on the gasket here, we're just going to put a bit of grease on the gasket, if I can stay out of the shadow. Just a bit of grease on the gasket, because this is your main oil supply for your engine. You don't want any glue of any kind, or anything that can block that filter up. And you notice the flat on the top here goes to the flat there. What a lovely job, Lance. So look, that's it with the filter housing. There's not much to it. I just did a little video on it. I just thought, well, you know, it's we're sort of covering every little thing, so we may as well cover this. So I might shift the camera around and we'll just bolt it onto the engine, and you can just watch that process too. Okay, you can see the engine's tilted over just so you can get a good camera view. You can see a bit of the rubbish, bit of the gasket material. I cleaned it off around here, but with the gasket on, the filter just bolts straight on like that. I'll try and just, there we go. Probably should have had my favourite little ratchet, shouldn't I? But anyway, it doesn't matter, I haven't, so this will have to do. Okay, so these are 3/8 UNF threads holding the filter housing onto the block, so around 30-35 foot-pound would be a nice tension for them. And then now it's on there and I can hang on to it better. We'll put a 5/8 spanner on and we'll just nip that little filter canister up nice and firm. We're trying to deform that little rubber in the top. So there you go, it's as easy as that. Just a quick little look through the filter housing. Yeah, it's look, it's a pretty basic job. A lot of you have seen all about it before and know all about it, but you never know, someone might be new to this, and just one of our little videos might help them out.